Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Slumpy from Slumpy Adventures, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some traits that I think are important if you want to be a successful traveler, especially those who are traveling solo or on a budget. Though before I get started with telling you all these traits I find to be important or helpful when traveling, I want to let you know that none of these are innate. While some people may have the privilege to be a little bit better at these things, all of these skills can be learned. These are not something you're born with and you either have it or you don't. A lot of people gain these skills or traits through different means, such as experience, failure, or even just reflection on oneself, I suppose. So if as I'm listing these off, you think, oh no, I'm not that way, or I don't have that trait or skill, no worries. It's something that you can gain over time and you can still be a successful traveler. The first trait that I want to bring up is being adaptable. Now, I know this probably seems pretty obvious, but really knowing how to adapt and overcome situations is very important. Your trip is not going to go as planned, especially if you're going for an extended period of time. Everything working out perfectly is simply not going to happen. Additionally, if you're going to different countries or different places, you're going to kind of have to adapt to live like a local best you can. Of course, as a tourist, it is a bit different than someone who's living permanently in a place, but you do have to adapt a bit, be it to weather, to foods, to all sorts of different things. So just be adaptable. Tying into that, being open-minded. You can't expect to go to places unlike your own and then expect it to be just like home. That's simply not realistic. So being open-minded that people are going to have different beliefs. They're going to follow different religions. People are going to eat some things that you might think are a little bit weird at times. Maybe the way that they do certain things is different than how you're used to. Especially with people, please be open-minded. All across the world, there's so many different ways that people live their lives, and generally, there really is no wrong way to live. If you're traveling on a tight budget like I am, or a lot of other college students would be, you need to learn to get comfortable with discomfort. Being comfortable with discomfort can mean lots of different things for lots of different people. So, for example, maybe you're staying at a hostel, and the person on the top bunk snores like crazy. You just got to deal with it. You can't really do much in that situation other than wake them up, and you are not going to make a friend that way. A lot of places that I stayed had some sort of bug issue. I wouldn't go as far as to say infestation, and there are limits. Of course, I wouldn't be staying somewhere where I see bed bugs like crazy, but maybe there's a lot of ants that are able to crawl in through the cracks, or maybe I see a cockroach here and there, and I'm not the biggest fan of those. You just learn to live with those things. And another thing is, even if you are not traveling on as tight of a budget where you might be encountering these things as frequently, maybe the weather isn't going to go as planned. You might be outside and all of a sudden you are getting poured on and you're wearing clothes that are really uncomfortable when they're wet and it's getting in your shoes and in your socks. You can't really control the weather. So what are you going to do other than get comfortable with it? Find a poncho, get an umbrella, and just keep on going on. Learning to find comfort in the discomfort is the only way that you'll be able to keep going as a traveler and not give up, get unmotivated, and just feel frustrated all the time. And feeling frustrated is not how you want to go about a trip. It's supposed to be fun. Learning how to manage your stress and anxiety is crucial. I'm diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, so I totally understand how it can feel and how nerve-wracking it can be. But going out and traveling and trying new things is very important. And managing your stress when things don't go right is also very important. I know these are two separate issues, but I'm kind of tying them together. So maybe you are at the train station and you don't know where to board your train at, or maybe it's running late, or I don't know, something's going awry. And you just have to learn how to manage your nerves and manage your stress levels so you can handle the situation. Kind of ties in with the adaptable earlier, but adapt and overcome. You have to be able to manage some of these really strong emotions in order to pull yourself through different situations that you will encounter when traveling. Being courageous in general is also super important. It takes a lot of bravery to will yourself outside of your comfort zone, to go to a country unlike your own, where you might be on your own, especially if you're a solo traveler. That takes a lot of guts. And I have to hand it to you if you're someone who's done that. I know that a lot of people were surprised when I was doing it, but I was not always that brave. It took a lot of work to build up and for me to get there to where I was willing to say, all right, I'm just going to go for it and do it. What could go wrong? And while things went wrong along the way, I had a great time overall and I can't complain. So sometimes being able to be courageous and take that step outside of your comfort zone to try new things or go new places or do things on your own, even just going to a movie by yourself or eating dinner all alone. It's not something to be embarrassed of. You are you. Be brave and just go for it. Live your life. And the next one is just being patient. Sometimes things are going to take time. Maybe you're stuck in a super, super long immigration line. I've been there. It sucks. I get it. Or maybe your flight got delayed and now you have to be in the airport for a few more hours. It's not fun, but being patient with things is really, really important. And being patient with people is also super important too. You're likely going to encounter some language barriers if you're traveling to different countries. So people will maybe struggle to understand you a bit. And it's not their fault. They shouldn't be expected to know your language, and you shouldn't be expected to know theirs. So finding a way to be patient, be human, be compassionate to one another is super, super important. Again, even in some stressful or finding ways to be patient, compassionate, and kind to others is super, super important, even in stressful or not the most enjoyable situations. There's a ton more traits that I find to be important for travelers, especially those on a budget or those going solo. But I'd say in general, these are some of the most important ones if you want to be able to have a good time while abroad. There's so many more I could talk about, like money management and all sorts of things. And while those are important, just being able to have a good time, I think these are the most. While there's a ton more traits that I find to be important, I think these 6 are the most important if you want to be able to have a fun and enjoyable trip without stressing yourself out and losing your mind. The last thing you want is for you to not even be able to have fun when you're going to someplace new. So I hope all these traits were helpful, and I hope you'll be able to find ways that you can improve these skills. I don't think anyone is ever perfect. There's going to be times where you get stressed or frustrated, no matter what. But just being able to develop these skills and improve so you can manage situations that come up is super important, and I hope that you will be able to do so you can enjoy your next trip. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, as it really, really helps me grow and continue making content. Thank you again. Take care and see you next time. Bye.